It was a Wednesday evening, the kind that usually fades into itself, gray, damp, forgettable. I had gotten home first. She was still at work, supposedly. The house was quiet, exactly as I liked it after a long day, and I moved through it with the automatic rhythm of routine. Mail on the kitchen counter, shoes by the door, jacket over the chair. I was heading to the laundry room. Our dryer had that goddamn squeak again, and I meant to look at it before she got home and launched into another of her, "We should just get a new one" rants. But then, on the way, I saw it. It wasn't dramatic. No open lipstick on the sink or a second coffee mug left with unfamiliar lipstick stains. It was just a glass. Hers, definitely hers, the stemless kind with the little chip at the base, the one she only used when she was drinking alone. It was on the windowsill in the upstairs hallway. That window doesn't open. There's no view, no bench or chair nearby, just a narrow corridor connecting the guest room and our bedroom. That spot didn't make sense for a glass of wine, not even in a drunken, forgetful kind of way. The sunlight had caught the glass just right as I walked up the stairs, making it flash like a signal flare. A single red fingerprint curved around the rim, dried and precise. I remember thinking how perfect it looked, like a staged scene, like something from a crime show, except there was no one else here. Supposedly. I didn't touch it. That's important. I just stood there, looking at it. Still wearing my tie, keys still in hand. I should have kept walking. That's what most men do. Explain it away, brush it off, move along with the momentum of routine. But my mind didn't reach for an excuse. It didn't even panic. It just froze, like a computer when you overload it. Cursor spinning in a calm, endless loop. That glass didn't belong there. Not in this hallway. Not in that context. She never drinks upstairs, not since the spill last year. She had been furious about the wine on the carpet, spent hours blotting it with vinegar and tears, muttering about how we couldn't have anything nice. After that, all drinks stayed downstairs. I remember the exact words. No more wine outside the kitchen. Ever. So why this glass now? Why there? And the wine itself, it was red, dark red, almost black. Malbec. She hated Malbec. Gave her migraines, she said. She'd always go for Pinot Noir or Rose when she was in the mood. I was the one who kept Malbec in the house, for when I needed a drink that bit back. That glass on the sill wasn't just a misplaced item. It was a contradiction. It was an error. And she didn't make errors, not like this. The silence of the house grew louder with every passing second. I looked down the hallway. The bedroom door was open. Guest room, too. No signs of disturbance. Nothing out of place except this one stupid glass that shouldn't exist where it did, holding something she shouldn't have been drinking, marked with a print that shouldn't have been left. The fingerprint nagged at me most of all. It wasn't smudged. It was clean, deliberate. Like she'd held it carefully, like she hadn't been drunk at all. I stared at that glass the way you stare at a snake in tall grass. Close, coiled, still. And I remember thinking something had changed. Not something big. Not something loud. Just the axis. The tilt. The air had a new pressure. And I knew, then, I'd never trust the quiet again. There was a moment, barely a second, where I wanted to believe it was nothing. Maybe she'd walked upstairs by accident. Maybe she'd been on the phone, distracted. Maybe she'd taken a sip of Malbec by mistake. But the string of maybes felt like a bridge made of thread. And as I stood there, staring at that wine glass like it had whispered a secret to me, the weight of what it meant started coiling in my stomach. No noise. No confrontation. Not yet. I left the glass there. Didn't touch it. Didn't even breathe near it. Just walked back down the stairs, slower than before, hands in my pockets now, like I was afraid to leave fingerprints of my own. I sat in the dark for almost an hour before she came home. When she did, she smiled, kissed my cheek, dropped her keys into the bowl, and asked what I wanted for dinner. Like nothing was broken. Like everything was whole. And I smiled back. Because I wasn't going to ask her about that glass. Not yet. It changed slowly, the way frost creeps across glass. Almost beautiful, if you weren't the one inside, freezing. At first, I thought it was just stress. Her hours at work got longer. Her tone got lighter. She was all about positivity, wellness, balance. She said things like, "I just need space to breathe," and "we should both focus on being our best selves," with a smile too wide for her eyes. She still touched my shoulder when she passed me in the kitchen, still laughed at my dumb jokes. But something was off, not what she did, but how she did it. Like watching a familiar play, but all the actors have been replaced. We still had dinner together most nights, but she started eating faster, as if the table was just a checkpoint on her way somewhere else. Conversations became shallow. Her story stopped having names. Just a coworker, a friend, someone from yoga. She never said, "we," anymore. It was always, "I've decided," or "I think it's best if I." And I listened, nodding, trying to convince myself that this was just a phase, that marriages had seasons, that this was a winter and spring would come. But then came the little shifts, the ones that don't scream, they whisper and keep whispering until they're the only thing you hear. Her phone, once always face up on the table, was suddenly always in her hand or in her bag. She started sleeping with it under her pillow. Said she was just using a new sleep app. One night, I saw the glow of the screen in the dark, lighting up her face. Her eyes darted across it like a code breaker, quick and anxious. She didn't notice me watching. When I shifted, she locked the screen so fast it made a sound. She started going to bed in makeup. That's the one that got me. Subtle at first, a little concealer, mascara still on her lashes. Said she was too tired to wash it off. But it kept happening. Even on weekends. Even when she stayed in. Like she was always prepared to be seen. Just not by me. She started misremembering things. Asked me how my lunch with Mark went. I hadn't seen Mark in 6 months. Told me I loved that documentary about volcanoes. I hate volcanoes. I told her that on our third date. We had laughed about it. She forgot. But she remembered everything her coworkers said. Every new diet her yoga friends were trying. She repeated those stories with fresh excitement, like she was saving her energy for conversations I wasn't part of. One night, she came home humming. Said she'd had an amazing day. That her boss complimented her presentation, and she felt so alive again. Her eyes were lit up, but not for me. She didn't ask about my day. She poured herself a glass of water and went straight to the bedroom. I followed her. Watched her pack a small overnight bag. "Company retreat," she said, without looking up. "Weird. You didn't mention that earlier." "Oh, I thought I had." She smiled. "It came up last minute. Just one night." "Where?" She paused just long enough to feel like a lie. "Some cabin. Not far. I'll text you the address once I'm there." She didn't. I didn't ask again. I stopped asking, really. Questions started to feel like trespassing. But I started watching. A week later, the false climax. The almost. The spike. She was in the shower, and for once, left her phone on the bed. Unlocked. Notifications weren't what I expected. No texts, no calls. Just a music app. Playlist titled Grounded. That didn't sound like her. I tapped it. Songs I didn't recognize, all soft, rhythmic, meditative. But the last song was different. A spoken word track titled Breathe for Him. I played it. It was a woman's voice, sultry, slow, almost a whisper. "Close your eyes. Think of him. Let him lead your breath." Not a stretch, could have been therapy. But why was it saved with 5 red heart emojis? Why was it played 7 times that day? I checked the play history. Every day, same track. Morning and night. That was it. No messages. No photos. No contacts out of place. Nothing concrete. But my skin itched. My mouth felt dry. I locked the phone and placed it back, exactly how it had been. She came out of the shower wrapped in a towel, humming the same melody from the track. She kissed my cheek, dripping water onto my shirt. "Can you believe how hot it got today?" she asked. I nodded. I didn't believe anything anymore. But I said nothing. I just watched. And I didn't blink. It was the slip-up with the perfume that did it. Not the scent itself, though that was new, too floral, too loud, but the lie wrapped around it. She came home late from a team dinner, cheeks flushed, eyes too bright. I noticed the perfume as soon as she walked in, lingering in her wake like a signature, heavy and deliberate. I'd never smelled it before. I made a casual comment, offhand, asking if it was something new. She blinked, just for a second too long, then smiled. "Oh, no. It's that same bottle from last Christmas. The one you gave me." I hadn't. I remembered exactly what I bought her that year, a minimalist white bottle from a Scandinavian brand she'd said she loved. This scent wasn't that. This was rich, bold, sensual, designed to be noticed. Designed for someone watching her walk away. I didn't call her out. I nodded like it was nothing, like I'd forgotten. But I went to the bathroom cabinet that night after she fell asleep. The Christmas perfume was still there, nearly full, untouched. The new bottle, round, expensive looking, with a faint smear of foundation near the cap, sat behind it, as if hidden but not hidden well enough. I picked it up. The label said Rouge Essence. I searched the name on my phone in the dark. It retailed at $160. Limited edition. Released only through a boutique line tied to a specific designer. The same designer her best friend had a contract with. Her best friend, Mia, who had once called me her safest person, who used to come to our place drunk and cry about men who used her. I set the bottle down and felt something slip behind my ribs. A quiet click, like a lock turning. I didn't feel hurt. I didn't feel betrayed. I felt organized. I spent the next day combing through digital receipts, syncing old cloud backups from our shared iPad, things she'd assumed I never looked at. There was a photo she'd taken by accident, her face cropped out, but her hand in the mirror, taking a selfie in a hotel bathroom. White marble, gold trim, a towel monogrammed with an M. It wasn't her initial. It wasn't mine, but it matched the logo of a boutique hotel downtown that Mia had mentioned once, joking about the men who used it to hide sins behind velvet. I booked a room there the next day, same floor, same corner suite she'd been in. I memorized the layout. I paid in cash. I tipped the concierge enough to keep my name off any obvious records. That week, she told me she was staying late at work again. I kissed her goodbye like always. Watched her drive off. Then I waited. 3 hours later, I pulled up the traffic camera archives I'd found through a shady sub-forum, nothing illegal, just public feed aggregation. She wasn't at the office. Her car was in the valet loop at that same hotel. Her phone's location? Off. Not paused. Not set to low battery. Just gone. Dead silence. She came home at 11:52 p.m. Hair freshly combed. Smile tight, controlled. She talked about how exhausting the new project was. How she was proud of her personal boundaries. How she felt she was finally reclaiming her identity. I said nothing. Just offered to warm up dinner. She said she was too tired to eat. I said, "Of course you are." And she didn't even flinch. That was when I knew the woman I'd married was gone. In her place was someone new, slick, composed, wrapped in empowerment language and digital erasure. She didn't even lie like a person anymore. She lied like a concept. I watched her move through the house like a guest wearing my wife's skin. I let her believe she was safe. That night, while she slept beside me, I opened my notes app and created a folder. Title: Exit Strategy. I listed her passwords, her routines, her tells. I mapped her friendship web, cross-referenced it with calendar gaps and Instagram activity. Mia hadn't posted a photo in 3 weeks, unusual for her. Her last story was a glass of wine next to a hotel keycard. Same gold trim. I knew now. Not suspected. Knew. It wasn't a theory. It was a structure. And I was going to burn it down from the foundation. I didn't want an explanation. I didn't want an apology. I didn't want closure. I wanted to be meticulous. I wanted to hurt her without touching her. I wanted her to know, one day too late, that the only person she ever truly underestimated was the one who used to hand her a toothbrush while she was crying. I didn't speak to her about any of it. I spoke to no one. Because I wasn't looking for allies. I wasn't a man trying to save his marriage. I was a man planning his invasion. And the war had already started. It was supposed to be a small dinner party, just 6 of us. Close friends. Wine. Laughter. Her idea. She wanted to reconnect, she said. Bring back the warmth. I nodded. Said I'd cook. She played the host perfectly, floaty dress, overdone smile, that high-pitched laugh she'd been faking for weeks. Mia arrived last. I opened the door for her. Didn't say a word. Just let her walk in. Watched them exchange a look that was too careful, too practiced. And I knew neither of them believed I had it in me to say anything. They thought they'd won. That the secret was still a secret. Dinner was civil. Quiet. Almost boring. Until she mentioned the perfume. Rouge Essence, she said, tilting her neck like it was an ad. It's my new signature scent. I let that hang in the air. Mia looked down at her plate. The other guest chuckled, oblivious. That's strange, I said. My tone flat. No heat. You told me it was a gift from me. Last Christmas. She blinked. What? That night you came home late. You said it was the bottle I gave you. The one still full in the cabinet. The one you never touched. Her smile faltered. The air stiffened. I must have been tired. I was confused. Were you confused when you took that selfie in the Marlowe Hotel bathroom? Or was that just another wellness ritual? Mia's fork clattered. The room went quiet. My wife laughed. A sharp, forced thing. Are you seriously checking my photos now? What, are we teenagers? No, I said. Teenagers lie better. She scoffed, trying to recover. You're being paranoid. That photo could be from years ago. It was taken 5 weeks ago. Your nail color matches your appointment. And the monogram towels? They're exclusive to one suite, which he reserved under Mia's name. I turned to Mia. You should really log out of your rewards accounts before lending your ID. She stood up. I didn't. Save it. I turned back to my wife. You used her as a front. Used her apartment for fake overnights. You even used her Spotify account to hide the fact you weren't home. That's how far you had to reach to keep the lie alive. And for what? Her eyes were wide now. Cornered, but still defiant. You don't understand. This wasn't about him. This was about me. Finding myself. I felt like I was drowning. So you handed me bricks and watched me sink with you? She looked like she might cry, but the tears didn't come. Not yet. You changed too. You stopped trying. You just became predictable. Predictable, I echoed, nodding. You mean loyal, honest, consistent. All the things you pretended to value, until someone offered you drama wrapped in secrets. Don't twist this, she snapped. This isn't black and white. You think you've been perfect? You weren't present. You were just there. There's a difference. I leaned in slightly. Calm. Controlled. No. I was steady. And you got bored of steady. You wanted chaos with candles. You wanted to feel dangerous without ever being held accountable. You dressed it up as empowerment, as self-care. But it was just lying. Expensive, well-moisturized lying. She went pale. Mia was already backing toward the door, like she knew what came next. You don't get to judge me like this, my wife whispered. You're not better than me. I didn't say I was better, I said, standing slowly. I said I saw you. All of you. The fake mantras. The pretend healing. The nights you came home glowing from someone else's praise and made me feel like I was the one not doing enough. You weaponized distance. You called it growth. Her lip trembled. I didn't mean to hurt you. You didn't even see me, I said. Not once. You looked at me like furniture. Something reliable. Something beneath notice. You left me in the cold and called it independence. And when I stopped chasing, you labeled me emotionally unavailable. That's not growth. That's cruelty with better branding. She covered her mouth. A whimper escaped, guttural, involuntary. The kind of sound people make when the mask shatters and they realize no one is clapping. I didn't move. I didn't comfort her. I just watched. Silent. Steady. She tried again, voice cracking. You don't have to do this here. In front of everyone. Please. Why not? I asked. You lived your lie out loud. Why should the truth be quiet? She broke. Right there. Face crumbling, shoulders shaking, breath hitching. She looked smaller somehow, like the shell she built finally collapsed, and the real version of her had no idea what to do without it. No deflection. No posture. Just the raw shape of someone who finally got caught and couldn't remember who she was before the act started. And I just stood there, watching. The room was silent. No one moved. No one dared speak. Because in that moment, they all understood something she never did. I hadn't come to hurt her. I had come to show her the mirror. And now she had to live with the reflection. She followed me into the hallway like a ghost losing form, steps faltering, voice cracking under the weight of what she finally couldn't spin. Behind us, the guests were frozen in polite horror, pretending not to listen while absorbing every word. Her performance was unraveling fast, no script left, no lighting to soften the truth. You're overreacting, she said first, desperate to grab at the remains of control. It wasn't like that. It was never about him. It was about me. I didn't turn around. Just kept walking toward the front room, steady, composed, letting her desperation fill the silence. It was a phase. A mistake. I wasn't myself. She grabbed my arm. You don't get to act like you were some perfect husband. You disconnected first. You got boring. Predictable. I needed more. I looked down at her hand, then at her. You didn't need more. You needed less accountability. She flinched. You're twisting everything I said. I'm not the villain here. I was trying to grow. I shook my head. You were trying to escape the life you built when it stopped being flattering. And you didn't want to leave. You wanted to sneak. Her expression cracked again. She tried a new angle. Softer. Sadder. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I swear I didn't plan it. I just felt so unseen. You didn't notice when I was struggling. You didn't ask what I needed. I met her eyes. You didn't need support. You needed an audience. She stepped back as if I'd hit her, but I wasn't done. Not yet. You made your loneliness my fault. You called it empowerment when it served you. You called it abandonment when I stopped chasing. You turned your own guilt into a weapon and blamed me for bleeding. Her lip quivered. She glanced toward the kitchen, where someone was pretending to wash dishes, clearly eavesdropping. Can we just talk? Alone? Please. I didn't move. Everything you did was already in secret. You don't get privacy for the consequences. Her face twisted again. Anger this time. You think walking away makes you righteous? That being cold means you won? You'll never find someone who loves you like I did. I laughed once. Quietly. You're right. I won't. Because next time, I'll choose someone who sees me as more than a mirror for their self-image. Someone who doesn't mistake chaos for passion. Someone who doesn't cheat and call it clarity. Her breath hitched. I was lost. I didn't know who I was anymore. I needed something that made me feel alive again. Then you should have gotten a therapist, I said. Not a lover with hotel loyalty points. She dropped into the armchair near the door, hand covering her mouth, shoulders shaking, not quite crying. Not yet. Just grasping for a new tactic. We can fix this. I can change. I'll go to counseling. I'll tell everyone it was my fault. Just don't throw everything away. I stepped toward her. Bent slightly. Voice low. You threw it away when you turned me into a bystander in my own marriage. When you stood in front of me and practiced transparency like it was a script. When you let your best friend hand you the rope and still acted surprised when you hung yourself with it. Her eyes filled then finally. Real tears. Maybe. But I'd seen better performances. I was scared, she whispered. Of what? I asked. Being known? Being loved without applause? Or maybe just being seen without a filter? She looked away. Couldn't answer. Couldn't even pretend to. The room behind us had gone completely still. The kind of silence that clings. That judges. That lasts. She reached for my hand like she used to, back when she still had faith in its warmth. I didn't pull away. I didn't lean in. I let her feel how far I'd already gone. Please, she mouthed, barely audible. Say something. I held her gaze. Calm. Final. I already did. You just never listened. And then I went quiet. Not in anger. Not in defeat. But in certainty. And in that silence, with a room full of people pretending to look at anything else, she finally realized she was alone. Not because I walked away, but because she had already left long before I ever did. It's been 9 months since that night. 9 months since the party where everything shattered in front of the people she once performed for. Back then, she was sharp-tongued, curated, always a step ahead in her little power plays. But now? Now she's something else entirely. The lover she clung to, the one she thought would be her rebirth, ghosted her 2 weeks after the confrontation. Said he wasn't ready for all this drama. Her best friend Mia? Vanished. Disappeared from social media. Blocked her on everything. Co-workers started keeping their distance, uncomfortable with the rumors, the way her voice would crack when she tried to pretend nothing happened. Then came the HR review. Her role required discretion, trust. And when trust disappears, so does access. She wasn't fired, just made redundant. Politely pushed out with a vague statement and a 1-month payout. The company Christmas party came and went. She wasn't invited. Her parents, who once gushed about our marriage, stopped returning her calls. Her sister told her to grow up and take accountability and hasn't spoken to her since. The woman who once couldn't go 5 minutes without posting filtered affirmations hasn't posted anything in months. People see her in town now, wearing oversized hoodies, hair tied back, no makeup. Not the woman who thought she'd be envied. The woman who used to command every room now avoids eye contact in grocery stores. I know all this not because I watch, but because she keeps reaching out. At first, it was simple. A missed call. A "can we talk?" text. I ignored it. Then came the voice notes. Her voice was tired. Hello. I still love you, she said in one. We were soulmates. We are soulmates. I was just lost. In another, I can't sleep. I keep dreaming you're in the room, and I turn around, but it's always empty. Please, just talk to me. She showed up at my door once, 3 weeks ago, unannounced. She looked like a stranger who used to borrow my wife's face. Red-rimmed eyes, trembling hands, trying to smile like she used to. I miss you, she said. Not just the life. You. I let her speak. Watched her shift through every tactic she'd ever used. Charm, guilt, apologies, even subtle accusations wrapped in tears. You never fought for us, she whispered. That was the last one. The final card. I didn't flinch. I didn't argue. I didn't remind her of the years I spent showing up for someone who never saw me unless she needed to feel powerful. I just looked at her, really looked, and said, I don't know you. She blinked, stunned. What? You're a woman I once shared a life with. A bed. A future. But that version of you doesn't exist anymore. And this one? This one's just a stranger who shows up with a past she lit on fire, asking to be forgiven for the smoke. Her mouth opened, then closed. There was nothing left to say. She stepped back, nodding to herself like she finally believed it. Like she finally saw the cost. She hasn't reached out since. And I've felt nothing but peace. Because the truth is, she thought the end would come with screaming, with slammed doors and bitter words. But the real ending came in silence. When she walked away from who she was, thinking it was evolution, and ended up walking straight into the grave of everything she claimed to value. Her story's over. And mine? Mine's just getting good. Thanks for listening. Let me know where you're watching from, and what you would have done if it were your wife.